Hello and welcome to a garage view of the Panzerkampfwagen 6 Alps B, commonly known as the King Tiger, or Tiger 2, just depends on where you're from. Well, the tanks, good tank. Where to start? Now let's take a quick look at the stats. 1600 hit points, top of the line for Tier 8 heavies. Excluding maybe a couple of the premium tanks. Under my configuration, weighs 71.32 tons out of a 72.97 ton load limit. Has an 870 horsepower engine, and will get up to 28 kilometers per hour. On average, you won't see anything over 26. It gets up there towards the top speed eventually. By no means is this a fast tank. It's just fast enough. Turns 26 degrees per second, which is pretty slow. Hull 150 at the front. That's just on the upper glacis. Obvious weak spot being the machine gun port, driver's or radioman's viewport and driver's viewport, commander's cupola, and whoever's periscope that is. Probably the loaders or maybe even the gunners. Don't know exactly. Always lower glacis on German tanks, massive weak spot. Put this thing at an angle, and if you can keep that covered up along with your lower glacis, put this thing at an angle about like so, it will give even tier 10s some trouble. Turret armor, quite good, 185 at the front. Sides and rear exactly the same as the hull. Fortunately, this is just a flat piece of steel, so anything that will exceed 185 millimeters of pen will go right through that, no problem. Turret cheeks, a little on the bouncy side, but don't expect it. This thing excels at long-range combat, and kind of can get away with playing peekaboo if you do it right. This 105 mil gun fires at 5.26 rounds a minute. It's okay for what it does, and we'll get to the gun in a moment. Turret and traverse, just awful, but if you're playing German, you're used to that. View range, quite good, 400 meters with a 710 meter signal range. It's basically tier 10 standard. Moving along to the gun, we have the 10.5 centimeter KWK 46L-68. 225 average pen with 320 average damage. Most targets this thing's going to pen and do damage. 0.34 accuracy, a little low for what you're used to on the German tree, but still pretty good. Aiming time, yuck, 2.3 seconds. That's Russian, to say the least. Premium ammo, kind of not really worth it. You know, tier 8, you should know where to shoot most tanks. Let's see. Equipment fit. Gun rammer. Always go with a gun rammer on any tank. Don't care what it is. Ventilation, just because I like the added buff to the crew skills. Yeah. For a third, vertical stabilizer, not too bad of an idea. Might go for a gun laying drive, or even coated optics or binocular telescope. German tanks, particularly tend to play more like sniper tanks. So anything to help with additional view range, not such a bad idea. Camouflage might fit more of a traditional sniper role with the optics, a net, and either a rammer or a vent. Probably rammer would be more useful in any situation. Whatever fits your fancy. This tank is pretty well rounded. It can do a lot of things that its predecessors can't, and even some of its well, some of the tanks that follow it can't do either. King Tiger, definitely a very well-rounded tank because it can kind of get away with brawling, provided you can keep your front armor to them. Though that low traverse and low hold traverse does limit that a lot, unless you're fighting against tanks that have low pen guns, like a lot of tier 7s. You can get away with bullying them, but most generally against other tier 8s, not recommended. Because, like I said, this thing is riddled with weak points in the front. That machine gun, the viewports, the cupola. If anybody can hit any of the features up top, they tend to do damage. Even this little thing right here, which I have no idea what is, I don't know if that's still a weak spot or not. It might just be a no-hit box. I have no idea. Problems with this tank. Fires with all German tanks, always a big problem. This thing definitely suffers from mobility issues because it is so big and heavy. A lot of German tanks, if you can track them and shoot them somewhere between that road wheel and the front drive sprocket, you can effectively do damage to them while keeping them tracked. It's one of those little bogus things. Crew skills. My current crew is 6 Sense, Camo, Clutch Braking, Camo. Definitely going to keep the skill set that I have, but for the commander, for a heavy tank, repairs always a good thing. German tanks in particular, firefighting is always good. For the sniper role, recon, maybe even mentor, depending on how you want to work it. Commanders get some okay skills. The gunners get a lot of good skills, though repairs and firefighting always good things. Snapshot, not such a bad idea. Deadeye, just the way things work now that I've noticed is you tend to hit something and it does modular damage no matter what. It's just you tend to do no damage to the tank itself. So I think Deadeye is just a waste of time. Armor, this thing doesn't really get his gun knocked out that much. Designated target, Clan Wars, garbage. So not even really worthwhile for just a regular pubber. Drivers also get some good skills. This thing can ram. Not really recommended to do it, but you definitely got the weight and the armor to get away with it. Smooth wide on a German tank is surprisingly effective. So honestly, I think off-road driving would benefit this tank more than others. Preventative maintenance might also be a good thing, especially for German tanks, since it reduces your chance of fire. Radio operators get garbage skills, but we'll take a look at them anyways. Only useful thing really probably be situational awareness, just to help boost the view range. Call for Vengeance and Relaying, those are more of scout tank perks as well as Clan Wars stuff. And you got a 710 meter view range, or signal range. So extended signal boosting, not really, not for this tank. These would make good scout perks and Clan Wars stuff. For just a regular pub match player, extended view range all the way. Loaders, no, by now we probably already know loaders get the crappy end of the stick when it comes to skills. The only one I could see being useful, safe stowage. And, you know, take your pick between repairs and firefighting, whichever. It's a heavy tank. Personally, I've gone with camo because I try and play this thing a bit further back. And the longer I can go without being spotted, the longer I can remain in one position dealing damage without actually having to give up that position. This and the tanks that follow it are great positional tanks. They're good for plugging gaps and stuff. Just because they got that really good frontal armor coupled with a great gun. For a tech path, I definitely recommend unlocking everything that you can, especially that engine. And technically you don't ever have to use either one of the 105mm guns. The King Tiger plays just fine with the KWK 43L71. Personally, I wanted the extra damage and slightly better pen over the rate of fire. But that's just the way I play. This thing, absolute garbage. Just stick with this until you can get this gun. And you want this gun because you'll be wanting it when you get to the E75, trying to get that gun. And this is the same engine off of the King Tiger, which will help get to that engine a lot sooner. So it really helps getting those for the E75. It just makes the stock grind a lot easier. General consensus is good tank. So just gonna hop into a quick match and hopefully demonstrate what I'm talking about. And personally, I love my King Tiger. It's a tank I've had fun in. It's had, even stock, I had some pretty epic matches with it. And I can't say that about many other tanks. Let's see, tanks to look out for. In its own tier, definitely the autoloaders. IS-3s, they're easy enough to deal with. KV-4s do give this thing troubles in terms of hurting them. Lions can give you troubles as well. Really, this thing at its own tier doesn't have a whole lot to be afraid of. ISU 152 is definitely a tank every other tank should fear, just because of that gun. But for this thing in particular, artillery, some of the TDs can give this thing fits. Really, the King Tiger is the king of tier 8 for most intents and purposes. It's by far the best tier 8 heavy tank I've played. So let's see what we can find over here. We got T-44 and an IS-6. IS-6s have good armor. T-44s, not that big of a problem to deal with. Just back off here because I don't know what else is around there. T-28 prototypes can pack a nasty wallop. So it's best to give every tank its own respect. It actually kind of brings me on to something that bugs the daylights out of me. People call tanks shit. Even the M3 Lee can be a dangerous tank. And as we all know, that's widely regarded as one of the crappiest tanks in the game. But played right, any tank can be absolutely lethal. Not too fond of sitting in the open, but I'll wait. I don't feel like using a repair kit just yet. T-29's pretty good. He knows what to do. Keeps a big, heavy German tank pinned in the open, and they tend to die very quickly. So his stupidity ended up probably saving me a bit of HP. 3001 went YOLO. Okay. T-28 Protos, very tough tanks, especially from the front. Surprisingly, they're not that great hold down. I have no idea why. It just seems like it to me. That's all. T-32, another good tank, but it's entirely too situational, and its gun just constantly lets it down. And it just doesn't have that well-roundedness that the Tiger does. Angle a bit more. Hopefully that T-28 hasn't moved. Now I'm going to back off since I don't see him. And our T-32 is just getting ripped to pieces. I don't think he's going to make it back around the corner. No idea where that shot went. Once again, another waft. No idea where these shots are going. Might not have a clear view of them, that's all. And that seems to be the case. There we go. Spot on. AT-8s, a little bit of a trouble. Just go for the top hat on him. And as long as I keep my gun angled to him, or my armor angled, his gun, unless he switches over to gold, is not very likely to pen my front plate. So I've got a lot of health left, and I'm thinking, right, I can do this. Just hoping that lion over there doesn't put one into me on my way up. So I want to start trying to cap. Something just hit me. Probably that lion. Yeah, definitely a lion. Being a tall tank does have its advantages sometimes. Means I can just kind of poke out a little bit and use my height to see over objects. Oh dear, there's an American autoloader down there. I want to get rid of him ASAP. Just tracked him. I'm going to back off, reload, and try and keep these rocks between me and that lion and IS-3 that's over there. Never mind, IS-3 is dead. T-69 is looking at somebody else, so I'll gladly poke one into him when he's not paying attention. Roll up, T-28 nabs him. So yeah, kind of an uneventful match, but it worked. And not a bad showing. Bounced off the back of that lion's turret, unfortunately. But other than that, hit and did damage to everything I fired at. Sorry about that. Could have done better, but could have done a lot worse. Take what you can. If it wasn't for the fact I waffed those 2 shots at the T-28, that would have been a perfect accuracy rating. 3 shots actually. All in all, not too bad. 7 out of 8 pens, so it's a good, reliable gun. Anywho, that has been Asmodeus showing you the King Tiger.